Oh? When I say love yourself, I do not speak of mere vanity or self-indulgence. No, I speak of something far more profound, far more transformative. I speak of recognizing and embracing the divine nature that resides within you. For you are in essence God made manifest. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. The world you see around you, with all its wonders and challenges, is but an outward picture of your inner assumptions. Your concept of self, your love or lack thereof for your own being, is the cause of all that you experience in this so-called objective world. Imagine, if you will, a vast and beautiful garden. This garden is your life, your experiences, your relationships, your achievements. Now, who is the gardener of this magnificent creation? It is none other than you, my dear friend. You are the master gardener of your reality, and the seeds you plant are your thoughts, your beliefs, and most importantly, your concept of self. If you plant seeds of self-doubt, of unworthiness, of self-loathing, what do you suppose will grow in this garden of yours? Weeds of disappointment, thorny bushes of failed relationships, withered flowers of unfulfilled dreams. But oh, when you plant seeds of self-love, of divine recognition, of unwavering faith in your own godly nature, then, my friends, then you shall see your garden bloom with unimaginable beauty. Now, you might ask, but Neville, how can I love myself when I see so many flaws, so many mistakes in my past? To this, I say, your past, your perceived flaws, your so-called mistakes, these are but shadows cast by your limited understanding of your true self. They have no power over you, except that which you grant them through your belief. Remember, you are not bound by your history. You are not defined by your past actions or inactions. You are, in each and every moment, born anew. The you that exists now is a fresh canvas, ready to be painted with the vibrant colors of self-love and divine recognition. Let me share with you a powerful technique to begin this journey of self-love. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing before a mirror. Look into your own eyes in this imaginal scene. What do you see? Do you see a limited, flawed human being? Or do you see the spark of divinity, the very essence of God looking back at you? I urge you, my dear friends, to practice this exercise daily. Look into that mirror of your imagination and declare with all the conviction of your soul, I am love incarnate. I am the very essence of divine perfection. I am worthy of all the good that life has to offer. As you do this, you may feel resistance. Old beliefs, old patterns of thought might rear their ugly heads. Do not fight them. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently but firmly replace them with your new, empowering vision of self. Remember, the subconscious mind, that faithful servant, does not discriminate between what you perceive as real and what you vividly imagine. By consistently presenting it with this new image of a loved and loving self, you are planting seeds that will inevitably grow into a growth that brightly. Now let us delve deeper into this concept of self-love. Many of you might associate love with an outward expression, something you give to others or receive from them. But I tell you this, all love begins within. You cannot truly love another until you have learned to love yourself fully and completely. Think of it this way, you are a vessel, a channel through which the divine love of the universe flows. If this vessel is clogged with self-doubt, self-criticism, and self-loathing, how can the pure love of the divine flow through you unimpeded? It cannot. But when you clear away these blockages through the practice of self-love, you become a clear and open channel, radiating love not only to yourself, but to all around you. This, my friends, is the true power of self-love. It is not selfish. It is not narcissistic. It is, in fact, the most selfless act you can perform. For in loving yourself, you raise your vibration, you elevate your consciousness, and in doing so, you lift up the entire world around you. Let me share with you another powerful technique to cultivate this self-love. I call it the I am meditation. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and begin to breathe deeply and slowly. With each breath, feel yourself relaxing more and more. Now begin to repeat silently to yourself, I am love. I am worthy. I am divine. Feel the power of these words resonating through every cell of your body. Let them sink deep into your subconscious mind. As you do this, you may notice thoughts arising that contradict these affirmations. Old beliefs trying to assert themselves. Do not fight them. Simply observe them, thank them for their input, and gently return to your I am statements. Practice this meditation for at least 10 minutes each day. As you do, you will begin to notice a shift in your perception of yourself. The voice of self-criticism will grow quieter, while the voice of self-love will grow stronger and clearer. Now, my dear friends, I want you to understand something of vital importance. This journey of self-love is not always easy. It is not a straight path from self-loathing to self-adoration. There will be days when you falter, when old patterns reassert themselves, when you find it difficult to look in that mirror and see the divine being that you truly are. In these moments, I urge you to be gentle with yourself. Remember, even these moments of doubt are part of your journey. There are opportunities for you to practice self-love in its most profound form, loving yourself even when you feel unlovable. In fact, let us explore this concept further. Imagine, if you will, that you are a parent and your child comes to you feeling sad, feeling unworthy. Would you berate this child? Would you agree with their negative self-assessment? Of course not. You would hold them close, reassure them of their worth, remind them of their inherent lovability. Now, I tell you this, you must become this loving parent to yourself. In moments of self-doubt, of perceived failure, of sadness, you must hold yourself with the same tenderness, the same unconditional love that you would offer to a beloved child. This, my friends, is the true test of self-love. It is easy to love ourselves when everything is going well, when we are succeeding, when we feel on top of the world. But the real work, the transformative work, happens when we can love ourselves in our darkest moments, in our perceived failures, in our times of doubt and fear. Let me share with you a powerful affirmation for these challenging times. When you find yourself in a moment of self-doubt or self-criticism, pause, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, even in this moment, especially in this moment, I choose to love myself unconditionally. Feel the power of these words. Let them sink deep into your being. For in making this choice, in this conscious act of self-love in a moment of difficulty, you are rewiring your subconscious mind. You are teaching it a new pattern, a new response. You are, in essence, reprogramming your entire being to default to love rather than criticism. Now, let us explore another aspect of self-love that is often overlooked. Many of you may believe that to love yourself, you must first change yourself. You might think, I'll love myself when I lose weight, or I'll love myself when I get that promotion, or I'll love myself when I find the perfect partner. My dear friends, this is a trap, an illusion created by the limited human mind. For I tell you this, self-love is not conditional. It is not something to be earned or achieved. It is your birthright, your natural state of being. Think of a newborn baby. Does this baby need to achieve anything to be worthy of love? Does it need to prove its worth, to meet certain conditions? Of course not. The baby is loved simply for existing, for being. You, my dear friend, are no different. You are worthy of love, of your own love, simply because you exist. You are a unique expression of the divine, a miracle of creation. Your very existence is cause for celebration, for love. So I urge you, do not postpone your self-love. Do not make it conditional on future achievements or changes. Choose to love yourself now, exactly as you are. For it is this unconditional self-love that will fuel your growth, that will inspire positive changes, that will attract wonderful experiences into your life. Let me share with you a powerful visualization to help you embody this unconditional self-love. Close your eyes and imagine yourself surrounded by a warm golden light. This light represents pure, unconditional love. Feel it enveloping you, permeating every cell of your body. Now imagine this light originating from within you, from your heart center. See it growing brighter and brighter, expanding outward. Feel the warmth, the acceptance, the pure love that this light represents. As you bask in this golden glow of self-love, bring to mind aspects of yourself that you've struggled to accept. Perhaps it's a physical feature you've been critical of, or a personality trait you've tried to change. As each of these aspects comes to mind, see them bathed in this golden light of unconditional love and acceptance. Say to each part of yourself, I love you, I accept you. You are a perfect part of my whole being. Feel the release as you extend this unconditional love to all parts of yourself. Practice this visualization regularly, my friends, for in doing so, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with this truth of unconditional self-love. You are creating a new default setting for your being, one of acceptance, of celebration, of love for all that you are. Now let us address another crucial aspect of self-love, the love and acceptance of your own desires and dreams. Many of you may have been taught that it's selfish to want things for yourself, that it's more virtuous to put others' needs before your own. But I tell you this, honoring your own desires is a vital part of self-love. Your desires, my dear friends, are not random. They are not frivolous. They are, in fact, divine inspiration. They are the universe, God, the divine consciousness, whatever name you choose to give it, speaking through you, guiding you towards your highest expression of self. When you ignore your desires, when you push them aside in the name of false humility or misguided selflessness, you are not being virtuous. You are, in fact, denying the divine expression that seeks to manifest through you. So I urge you, embrace your desires, love them, honor them. For in doing so, you are loving and honoring the divine within you. You are saying to the universe, yes, I am ready to be all that I can be. I am ready to express the fullness of my divine nature. Let me share with you a powerful exercise to help you embrace and love your desires. Take a piece of paper and at the top, write, in a world where anything is possible, I desire then. Let your imagination soar. Write down everything your heart yearns for, no matter how grand or seemingly impossible. As you write, pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel excitement, joy, or do you feel guilt or unworthiness? If negative feelings arise, this is an opportunity to practice self-love. Remind yourself, my desires are valid. They are divine inspiration. I am worthy of all that I desire. Now look at your list. Choose one desire that resonates strongly with you. Close your eyes and imagine it as if it were already fulfilled. See it, feel it, taste it, smell it. Make it as real as possible in your imagination. As you do this, pay attention to how you feel. This feeling of joy, of fulfillment, this is your true self. This is you aligned with your divine nature. Love this feeling, embrace it. For in loving your desires, in allowing yourself to feel the joy of their fulfillment even in your imagination, you are loving your true self. My dear friends, understand this. The universe responds not to your words, not to your actions, but to your state of being. When you love yourself fully, when you embrace your desires without guilt or reservation, you are in a state of alignment with the abundance of the universe. From this state, miracles flow naturally and effortlessly. Now let us delve into another crucial aspect of self-love, the love and acceptance of your own power. Many of you have been taught to play small, to doubt your own capabilities, to look outside yourself for validation and approval. But I tell you this, true self-love requires that you embrace your own power, your own divinity. Remember, you are not merely a physical being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. You are, in essence, God made manifest. The power that created the universe resides within you. When you deny your power, when you doubt your capabilities, you are not being humble. You are, in fact, denying the very essence of your being. You are saying to the divine within you, I do not trust you. I do not believe in you. So I urge you, my dear friends, embrace your power. Love it. Honor it. For in doing so, you are loving and honoring the divine within you. You are saying to the universe, yes, I am ready to be the powerful divine being that I truly am. Let me share with you a powerful affirmation to help you embrace and love your mirror. Stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and declare with all the conviction of your soul, I am powerful beyond measure. The same power that created the universe flows through me. I am capable of creating miracles in my life. As you say these words, pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel a surge of energy, a sense of excitement? Or do you feel doubt, disbelief? If negative feelings arise, this is another opportunity to practice self-love. Remind yourself, these doubts are not my true self. They are old programming, old beliefs that no longer serve me. I choose to love and embrace my power. Practice this affirmation daily, my friends. For in doing so, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with this truth of your own divine power. You are creating a new default setting for your being, one of confidence, of capability, of alignment with your true powerful self. Now let us address a common obstacle on the path to self-love, the habit of comparison. Many of you may find yourselves constantly comparing your lives, your achievements, your appearances to those of others. This habit of comparison is a thief of joy, a barrier to true self-love. Remember this, my dear friends, your journey is unique. Your path is yours alone. The divine expresses itself through you in a way that is entirely unique and perfect for you. When you compare yourself to others, you are denying the perfection of your own divine expression. Instead of comparison, I urge you to practice appreciation. Appreciate the unique way in which the divine expresses itself through you. Appreciate your strengths, your quirks, your so-called flaws, for all of these are part of the magnificent, one-of-a-kind creation that you are. Let me share with you a powerful exercise to help you shift from comparison to appreciation. Take a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. In the first column, write down all the things about yourself that you typically compare to others. It might be your appearance, your achievements, your relationships. Now, in the second column, next to each item, write an appreciation. For example, if you wrote my body in the first column, your appreciation might be, I appreciate my body for its strength and resilience. It carries me through each day, allowing me to experience the wonders of life. Do this for each item on your list. As you write these appreciations, feel the shift in your energy. Feel how much lighter, how much more loving you feel towards yourself when you focus on appreciation rather than comparison. Practice this exercise regularly, my friends. For in doing so, you are training your mind to default to appreciation rather than comparison. You are cultivating a deep, abiding love for all aspects of yourself. Now let us explore another vital aspect of self-love, the love and acceptance of your own emotions. Many of you may have been taught to suppress certain emotions, to judge them as good or bad. But I tell you this, all of your emotions are valid. They are all part of the human experience, part of the magnificent spectrum of your being. When you judge your emotions, when you try to push away the ones you deem negative, you are rejecting a part of yourself. You are saying to a part of your being, you are not welcome here. You are not worthy of love. True self-love requires that you embrace all of your emotions, the joy and the sorrow, the excitement and the fear, the love and the anger. All of these are part of your human experience. All are worthy of your love and acceptance. Let me share with you a powerful practice to help you love and accept all of your emotions. I call it the emotional welcome mat exercise. Imagine that you have a welcome mat at the doorway of your being. When an emotion arises, no matter what it is, imagine welcoming it in. Say to the emotion, welcome. I see you. I feel you. You are a valid part of my experience. Resist the urge to judge the emotion or try to change it. Simply allow it to be, to move through you. As you practice this, you may notice that emotions move through you more quickly when you don't resist them. You may find that even the most challenging emotions become easier to bear when you meet them with love and acceptance. This, my dear friends, is true emotional maturity. It is not the absence of so-called negative emotions, but the ability to embrace all emotions with love and equanimity. This is a profound form of self-love, one that will transform your entire experience of life. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to address one final crucial aspect of self-love, the love and acceptance of your own journey. Many of you may be impatient with yourselves, frustrated with what you perceive as slow progress or setbacks on your path of growth and self-improvement. But I tell you this, your journey with all its twists and turns, its peaks and valleys is perfect. It is exactly what you need for your soul's growth, for your evolution into the fullest expression of your divine self. When you judge your journey, when you berate yourself for perceived failures or lack of progress, you are denying the wisdom of the divine plan unfolding in your life. You are saying to the universe, I know better than you. Your plan is not good enough. Instead, I urge you to love your journey. Embrace every step of it, even the challenging ones. For it is often in the darkest times that we grow the most, that we discover strengths we never knew we had. Let me share with you a powerful visualization to help you love and accept your journey. Close your eyes and imagine your life journey as a beautiful winding river. See it flowing through various landscapes, sometimes through lush green valleys, sometimes through challenging rocky terrains. Now, see yourself as a boat on this river. Notice how you navigate both the calm waters and the rapids with equal grace. Feel the excitement of the journey, the growth that comes with each new bend in the river. As you visualize this, say to yourself, I love and accept every part of my journey. I trust in the perfect unfolding of my life. I am exactly where I need to be at this moment. Practice this visualization regularly, my friends. For in doing so, you are cultivating a deep love and acceptance for your entire life journey. You are aligning yourself with the divine plan unfolding in your life. In conclusion, my dear friends, remember this. Loving yourself is not a destination. It is not something you achieve once and then are done with. It is a ongoing practice, a moment-by-moment choice. Choose in each moment to see yourself through the eyes of love. Choose to speak to yourself with kindness and compassion. Choose to honor your desires, to embrace your power, to accept your emotions, to love your journey. As you do this, you will find that your entire experience of life transforms. The world around you will seem to change, to become more loving, more abundant, more joyful. But remember, it is not the world that has changed, it is you. You have aligned yourself with the truth of your being, with the love that is your true nature. And from this place of self-love, of alignment with your divine nature, you become a beacon of light in the world. You radiate love effortlessly, touching all those around you with your presence. This, my friends, is your true purpose. This is why you are here, to remember your divine nature, to love yourself fully and completely, and in doing so, to uplift the entire world. Go forth, my dear ones, and love yourselves fiercely, unconditionally, unwaveringly, for in doing so, you are loving the divine itself. You are fulfilling your highest purpose. You are being who you truly are. And always remember, you are loved. You are loving. You are lovable. You are in your very essence, love itself. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention, for your openness, for your willingness to embrace this profound truth of self-love. May you go forth from here radiant with the light of your own love, blessing the world with your presence. For you are, each and every one of you, a miracle of creation, a unique and perfect expression of the divine. Love yourselves, my dear ones. Love yourself with all your heart, all your soul, all your being. For in doing so, you are loving God itself.
Everything you behold in your outer world is but a mirror, an echo of the energy you entertain within. The world is not happening to you. It is happening through you. It is not circumstance, nor chance, nor fate that shapes the architecture of your life, but the unseen movements of your inner being. You are not a passive observer in this universe. You are its cause. When you shift your energy, when you alter the vibrational essence of your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions, you do not merely invite change. You command it. The secret lies not in trying to manipulate the outer world, but in becoming conscious of the power within you to feel a new reality into existence. There is no power outside your awareness, no authority greater than your imagination. What you accept as true, what you dwell upon in the silence of your soul, what you dare to believe in the unseen, these things give birth to your world. So I invite you now to journey inward, to step beyond the illusion of limitation, and to awaken to the truth. If you shift your energy, your reality must follow. This is law, this is life, and this is your moment to remember who you truly are. The world you see around you, every event that unfolds, every person you encounter, every circumstance that repeats itself, all of it is a reflection of the inner state of your consciousness. It is not by accident or coincidence that your life takes the form it does. The external world is a mirror, a precise and faithful echo of the thoughts you habitually think, the emotions you routinely feel, and the beliefs you unconsciously hold as true. Life is not a chaotic stream of unrelated events. It is a carefully orchestrated performance, governed by the energy you carry within. There is no separation between the inner and the outer. What you feel deeply and continuously within yourself will eventually crystallize in the physical world, for the two are intimately intertwined. This truth is often hidden from those who seek answers only in the external realm. People look to change jobs, relationships, homes, or cities in hopes of finding a new reality, not realizing that unless they alter the vibrational state of their own being, the patterns will simply repeat under different disguises. You may leave one place only to meet the same experience in another. You may walk away from a person only to attract someone just like them. You may try to fix the world outside, but the root remains within. Until your consciousness transforms, your world cannot. Your predominant mood, your dominant tone of energy, is the silent script writing the story of your life. What you believe about yourself at the deepest level determines the circumstances that unfold around you. If you carry the energy of lack, you will walk through a world that affirms scarcity. If you carry the energy of unworthiness, people and situations will rise to reflect that judgment. If you silently assume that life is difficult, unfair, or limited, it will obligingly mirror that belief back to you. The universe does not contradict your assumptions, it obeys them. This reflection is not punishment, it is revelation. The world is showing you what you are entertaining within. It is offering you a living picture of your inner activity. The people you meet are messengers of your energy. The situations you find yourself in are manifestations of your assumptions. When you feel joy, you begin to meet people who match that joy. When you walk in confidence, opportunities arise to match that certainty. When you believe in abundance, life responds with unexpected gifts. Not because the world is suddenly being kind to you, but because it was always kind. It was simply waiting for you to align with its nature. The reason this principle seems hidden to many is because of how we are trained to perceive life. From early on, we are taught to react rather than create. We learn to respond to circumstances as though they are fixed, as though the world is something separate from us that happens to us. But this is a misunderstanding. You are not a powerless observer. You are a powerful projector. The conditions of your life are not fixed entities. They are fluid reflections, shaped by the unseen energy of your consciousness. The lens through which you view the world is the very thing constructing it. Even your body, your health, and your physical surroundings are reflections of your inner state. The tension you carry, the illness that appears, the vitality you feel, all are messages from the invisible to the visible. They are signposts pointing back to what you believe and feel most often. When a person begins to shift their thoughts, when they change the emotional frequency they radiate, they will notice a gradual but undeniable change in the landscape of their life. It may begin subtly, a new encounter, a surprising opportunity, a feeling of peace in places where stress once ruled. But over time, the entire scenery begins to reflect the new vibration. The outer rearranges itself to match the new inner script. You are not merely in the world is in you. What you see is the projection of what you believe. The most empowering truth a person can awaken to is that they are not trapped by circumstance. They are never truly stuck. They may feel imprisoned by the conditions of life, but those conditions are reflections, and reflections can be changed. Not by force, not by desperate action, but by the quiet, consistent reconditioning of the inner life, by changing the way you see yourself, by altering what you accept as possible for you, by shifting your dominant emotional tone. You set into motion an energetic realignment that the world must follow. It is easy to overlook this when caught in the noise and rush of daily life. It is easy to blame others, to feel victimized, to assign power to something or someone outside of yourself. But the still unwavering truth remains. The source is always within. The origin is not in events but in consciousness. What you accept as true about yourself and the world becomes the blueprint from which your reality is built. And so if the outer world appears hostile, chaotic, or stagnant, it is not a matter of fixing the outer but of turning inward and asking, what within me is being reflected out there? There is no power greater than self-awareness, for it grants you the ability to trace every effect back to its cause. When you recognize that you are the origin of your reality, you no longer fight the world. You transform it by transforming yourself. As you shift your emotional center, your mental focus, your spiritual alignment, the mirror cannot help but change its reflection. Imagination is not a child's plaything or a fleeting daydream. It is the creative force of your reality. It is the sacred faculty through which the unseen becomes seen, the invisible becomes visible, and the formless takes shape in the world. Every structure, every invention, every piece of art, every shift in human history was first born in the quiet space of imagination before it was ever carved into reality. It is the womb of creation, the canvas where life's events are painted before they unfold. What you imagine with intensity and emotional conviction imprints itself upon your consciousness, and what is impressed within must be expressed without. There is no separation between imagination and manifestation. They are two parts of one divine movement. When you allow yourself to imagine with clarity and purpose, you begin to move beyond the limitations of your current circumstances. You are no longer confined by what your senses report to you. Instead, you step into a deeper truth. The truth that your mind, your awareness, your capacity to feel and visualize is what shapes your life. The images you hold, the scenes you rehearse, the outcomes you dwell on, they are not idle fantasies. They are blueprints being drafted within the workshop of your soul. Your imagination is the instrument by which you tell the universe what you are ready to receive. Many people use this power unconsciously. They rehearse fear. They visualize worst-case scenarios. They imagine rejection, failure, conflict, and then wonder why life echoes back that vibration. But when you learn to use imagination deliberately, with discipline and faith, it becomes the most powerful tool for transformation. It allows you to inhabit the reality you desire before the world shows you any evidence of it. It lets you feel rich while your bank account is empty, to walk in love while your relationship status is unchanged, to dwell in peace while storms still rage around you. This inner embodiment is not delusion, it is creation. The moment you feel it real, you begin to call it forth. The universe does not respond to your begging, it responds to your being. Imagination makes being possible before doing becomes necessary. When you live internally from a state, the outer world begins to reflect that state. You are not required to know how things will come to pass. You are not asked to figure out the steps, to manipulate circumstances, or to control others. You are simply invited to dwell, with faith and repetition, in the inner experience of the wish fulfilled. The how is not your domain. Your task is the vision. Your task is the belief. Your task is the emotional alignment with the scene you have crafted. This process is not a performance or a ritual to impress some external force. It is a communion with the creative intelligence that flows through you. You are not separate from the source of life. You are an extension of it. And imagination is the channel through which that divine life flows into form. When you sit quietly and enter into the vivid experience of your desired reality, you are not pretending. You are not escaping. You are creating. That inner activity is more real than the transient appearances that surround you. For all appearances change, but the state you sustain inwardly is the seed that determines what comes next. Imagination must be engaged with feeling. Dry mental images do not carry the creative charge necessary to bring about transformation. You must feel the scene. You must live in it internally. You must feel the joy of receiving, the gratitude of having, the freedom of being. The more you repeat this inner dwelling, the more natural it becomes. And what becomes natural becomes inevitable. The world will conform itself to the image you have formed within, just as water takes the shape of the container into which it is poured. This inner vision does not require permission. It does not depend on evidence. It requires only your willingness to trust what you see inside more than what you see outside. This is the test of faith, not blind belief in something out there, but confident participation in the truth within. When you begin to prioritize your imagination over your memory, when you favor possibility over probability, you break free from the inertia of your past and step into the power of the present moment. Imagination becomes your guide, your compass, your silent architect. There is no person too ordinary, no situation too fixed, no life too broken that cannot be reshaped by imagination. You do not need to wait for a miracle. You are the miracle. The images you choose to hold, the life you repeatedly live within your mind, the assumptions you carry as you fall asleep at night, these are the seeds from which your future will grow. Every great transformation begins not with action, but with vision. Action follows belief. Movement follows inner knowing. The outer rises up to meet the picture you sustain inwardly, because the world must obey the law of consciousness. To imagine is to declare, I am more than what has been. I am more than what is seen. I am what I choose to see, and I will live as though it were already so. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are aligning with the highest aspect of yourself, the divine creative force within you that seeks to express, expand, and elevate. Through imagination, you become the author, the artist, the architect of your experience. You are no longer living at the mercy of events. You are living as the cause of them, quietly, powerfully, faithfully. Assumption is the hidden key that unlocks the doors of your reality. It is not wishful thinking or idle hope. It is a conscious decision to accept something as true before there is any physical evidence to support it. It is the act of claiming with inner certainty that what you desire is already yours, even when the world gives you every reason to doubt. Assumption is the sacred bridge between imagination and manifestation. It is the quiet inner stance that says, this is my truth, and holds to that truth until the outer world reshapes itself in agreement. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you assume. Wanting alone creates distance. Assuming closes the gap. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to become it inwardly, before it becomes visible outwardly. This is not about forcing belief, but about dwelling so deeply in the inner reality that it begins to feel more real than the physical world. When you assume something to be true, your mind begins to reorder itself around that truth. Your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors align with the new state, and life begins to reflect this new alignment. The assumption becomes the state of consciousness you carry, and from that state your actions become effortless, natural extensions of who you now are. You no longer strive, you no longer beg, because you are no longer outside your desire, you are one with it. This principle operates constantly, whether you are aware of it or not. Most people assume from lack, from fear, from unworthiness. They do not call it assumption, they call it reality. They assume that things are hard, that people can't be trusted, that they are not lucky, that success is for others. These assumptions are not questioned. They are accepted as fact. And so the world mirrors those assumptions back, reinforcing the illusion that they are true. But once you awaken to this principle, you begin to see that reality is not fixed. It is fluid, and your assumptions are the mold from which it is cast. Change the mold and the form must follow. To live from assumption is to walk by inner vision, not by outer evidence. It requires a discipline of mind and a courage of heart, because the world around you may still reflect the old story. But assumption is not reactive. It is creative. It does not wait for confirmation. It gives birth to confirmation. When you assume that you are already who you want to be, you begin to think differently, speak differently, and make choices that align with that identity. The universe responds not because it is being manipulated, but because it is governed by law. The law is simple. What you accept as true becomes your experience. This is why assumption must be felt. It is not enough to merely say the words. You must feel the truth of your new state. The feeling is the secret ingredient, the living proof that your mind and heart are in agreement. You may not know when the outer will shift, but that is not your concern. The moment you embody the assumption inwardly, you have moved into a new timeline. Everything in your reality will begin to rearrange itself to support that new version of you. People will show up differently, circumstances will change, and opportunities will emerge, not by chance but by alignment. There is a deep stillness in assumption. It is not frantic, it does not grasp or chase. It rests in the knowing that what is held within must express itself without. When you assume health, you begin to feel health. When you assume abundance, you notice the smallest signs of wealth and multiplication. When you assume love, you radiate it, and it returns to you multiplied. This process may appear mystical, but it is exact. It is not about trying to make something happen. It is about allowing what you already hold as true to unfold in perfect order. Assumption requires repetition. The old assumptions may try to reassert themselves through doubt or fear, but this is only the residue of past conditioning. When you persist in the new assumption quietly, confidently, without needing the world's immediate agreement, you begin to dissolve the power of the old pattern. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you deepen the groove of the new reality. Over time, that assumption becomes so natural that it no longer feels like pretending. It feels like remembering. This is the essence of faith. Not blind belief in something distant, but full embodiment of something present but unseen. It is knowing that the invisible roots of your assumption are growing beneath the surface, even if nothing seems to be happening above ground. It is holding fast to your inner world, knowing that the outer world is on its way to meet you. The seed has been planted. The form must appear. Through assumption, you take responsibility for your life. You are no longer a victim of circumstance or a product of past experience. You become the initiator of your reality, the director of your inner play, the chooser of your states. There is no waiting for a sign. The assumption is the sign. Once you accept that what you desire is already yours in consciousness, the journey becomes one of unfolding, not attaining. You are no longer seeking. You are remembering who you already are, and allowing that remembrance to shape your world. Your emotional vibration is the silent architect of your life. It speaks a language louder than words, clearer than thoughts, and more powerful than action alone. Every emotion you feel radiates an energetic frequency that shapes the experiences you draw into your reality. You do not attract what you want with your intellect. You attract what you consistently feel. The emotional tone you carry is not an accessory to your life. It is the command center. It tells the universe who you believe you are and what you are prepared to receive. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if they are not supported by emotion, they remain hollow sounds. It is the emotion, the vibration, that gives them life. Most people are unaware of what they are emitting emotionally. They move through their day reacting to circumstances, unaware that their emotional reactions are setting the stage for tomorrow's reality. A person who consistently feels frustrated, anxious, or unworthy is unconsciously affirming those emotions as their dominant state of being. And because the outer world reflects the inner state, life responds accordingly. The same patterns, the same disappointments, the same limitations repeat. Not because life is punishing them, but because life is echoing back the frequency they are sending out. Emotions are not private, they are generative. They do not simply pass through you, they create through you. When you begin to understand the power of emotional vibration, you stop trying to fix the outer world and begin to tend to your inner world with greater care. You start to observe your feelings not as random fluctuations, but as indicators of alignment. If you feel peace, you are aligned with clarity and truth. If you feel joy, you are aligned with abundance. If you feel deep trust, you are aligned with faith. These emotional states are not dependent on external events. They are internal postures that call forth external evidence. Feeling comes first, the world follows. To shift your reality, you must begin by shifting your emotional home. You must ask yourself, what state do I live in most often? Not what do I visit briefly after reading something inspiring, but where do I dwell emotionally day after day? Is it worry or confidence? Is it hope or dread? Is it empowerment or helplessness? This emotional home becomes the atmosphere of your consciousness, and everything you experience is born from that atmosphere. It is not enough to feel good occasionally. Your life reflects your dominant vibration, not your occasional elevation. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It elevates your vibration without requiring any external change. When you feel grateful for what you have, and even more so for what you are calling into being, you send out a signal of sufficiency, of love, of trust. Gratitude tells the universe that you recognize your abundance, and that signal begins to draw more experiences that align with that emotion. Likewise, emotions like resentment, envy, and fear lower your vibration and constrict your reality. They tighten the flow of energy, cut off opportunities, and create a lens through which you interpret life in limited terms. You do not have to be perfect. Emotions will fluctuate, and that is natural. But the key is to become aware of the emotions you feed and nurture. Do you dwell in self-pity, or do you rise into self-respect? Do you hold on to past hurt, or do you choose the freedom of forgiveness? Every choice shapes your frequency, and your frequency shapes your field of attraction. When you walk through life carrying the emotional tone of your desired outcome, the world begins to reflect that tone back in unexpected ways. Feeling is creative power. It is the essence of manifestation. When you emotionally embody a state before it is visible, you create a magnetic field around you that begins to reorganize reality. People, situations, opportunities, they begin to shift in accordance with your inner vibration. The higher the vibration, the clearer the signal. The clearer the signal, the faster the alignment. This is not about pretending or ignoring what you feel. It is about becoming intentional with what you choose to dwell in. You honor your emotions, but you do not allow the lower ones to dictate your life. There is a quiet discipline in choosing a higher vibration, especially when the outer world appears unchanged. It is easy to fall back into the familiar energy of doubt, fear, or frustration. But when you choose to feel as though your desire is already fulfilled, even while your senses suggest otherwise, you are not being naive, you are being powerful. You are declaring through feeling that you are the creator, not the reactor. And that declaration carries energetic weight. It shifts timelines. It bends circumstances. It attracts people and resources that match your new emotional identity. Every morning, every moment, you are emitting something. Your presence is not neutral. It communicates. People may not always hear your words, but they always feel your energy. And your energy, your emotional vibration, is either expanding your life or shrinking it. When you raise your vibration intentionally, through gratitude, through love, through faith, you rise into a reality that matches that vibration. You become magnetic, not just to things, but to transformation itself. Your entire field becomes a portal through which new possibilities enter, not because you chase them, but because you match them. And in this match, creation becomes effortless. Faith is the unseen foundation upon which all creation rests. It is not blind allegiance to an external doctrine or a mere hope for things to improve someday. True faith is an inner conviction, a deep knowing that transcends appearances. It is the spiritual certainty that what you have imagined, assumed, and felt is already real, already present, and already moving toward expression. Faith is the invisible substance that anchors you in the unseen while the visible is still catching up. It allows you to walk in alignment with your desires before they manifest, to speak with authority before the facts agree, and to act with confidence while the evidence is still invisible. It is the force that bridges the gap between vision and visibility, between desire and demonstration. Faith is not passive. It is an active, dynamic state of being. It is not about sitting back and waiting. It is about inwardly preparing, emotionally aligning, and mentally dwelling in the end result before it ever shows up. To have faith is to declare with your energy, it is done, even when the world insists it is not. It is to walk as if the outcome is certain, even when logic suggests it's unlikely. This kind of faith is not manufactured. It is chosen. It is an intentional return again and again to the inner vision, despite what your senses may report. Every time you feel doubt, fear, or delay, you are invited to return to faith, not by fighting the doubt, but by feeding the belief. Faith must be nurtured like a fire. Left unattended, it can fade under the weight of daily distractions, outer noise, and lingering insecurities. But when tended, when protected, and when deliberately fed with truth, vision, and gratitude, it becomes unshakable. It becomes the dominant tone of your being, and from that tone your reality is shaped. The outer world responds to the energy of faith with precision. What you believe deeply, what you expect consistently, must move toward you, for reality cannot help but mirror back your inner conviction. Living by faith means you no longer require evidence to believe something is true. Instead, you let the belief itself become the evidence. You let the feeling of already having it be enough. You no longer chase confirmation. You live in confirmation. You no longer wait for the breakthrough. You walk as one who has already received it. This inner shift is powerful because it changes your relationship with time, struggle, and uncertainty. Faith lifts you out of the realm of lack and into the field of fulfillment, where everything is already accomplished in spirit and simply awaiting expression. Faith also dissolves resistance. When you are fully convinced inwardly, you stop asking how and when. You stop needing to control the process or measure progress by appearances. You surrender the timing, the methods, the pathways, and instead rest in the knowing that the unseen is working in your favor. This rest is not laziness, it is alignment. It is the peaceful assurance that life is unfolding in divine order, even if the steps ahead are not yet revealed. Faith removes urgency, replaces anxiety with expectancy, and transforms waiting into preparation. There is a sacred strength in those who live by faith. They are not swayed by fluctuations, not discouraged by delays, and not distracted by detours. Their inner eye is fixed on the vision, and their heart is rooted in certainty. They do not beg life to shift, they command it through their inner stance. Their energy carries the quiet authority of someone who already knows, already receives, already dwells in the fulfilled promise. And because they do, life responds in kind. Doors open, synchronicities appear. The impossible becomes ordinary, not because of effort but because of unwavering alignment. Faith must become your dwelling place, not your vacation spot. It must be where you live emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You cannot visit it occasionally and expect transformation. You must carry it with you in silence and in storm. You must train your mind to return to it when fears creep in, when circumstances shake, when delays tempt you to quit. The strength of your faith is not in how loud it shouts, but in how quietly it endures. It holds the line. It keeps standing. It keeps believing, not with desperation, but with divine calm. This faith is not something given to a chosen few. It is a universal power available to all who are willing to trust what they feel more than what they see. It grows stronger with practice. Every time you imagine the end result, every time you feel the emotion of the fulfilled desire, every time you assume the outcome with joy and gratitude, you are exercising faith. And like a muscle, it expands with use. Your confidence deepens, your energy stabilizes, your reality shifts. The person who lives in faith carries a different frequency. They are not ruled by appearances, they see beyond the surface. They speak from the outcome, not toward it. They carry a joy that has not yet been justified, a peace that seems unreasonable, a power that is not of this world, and that vibration creates ripple effects. It calls forth new people, new ideas, new resources, not through force but through frequency. The outer must eventually match the inner, because that is the law. You are always creating from your state, and when that state is rooted in unwavering faith, all things are possible. Shift your energy, and you shift your reality. This is not just a poetic phrase. It is a law, a living truth that governs every moment of your existence. You are not a passive observer of your life. You are the creator of it. The world you see is a mirror, reflecting the energy you carry within. When you dare to imagine boldly, assume your desire with conviction, feel its presence as real, and walk in unwavering faith, the universe responds with unshakable precision. You no longer chase outcomes. You align with them. You no longer plead for change. You embody it. The invisible becomes visible, not through effort, but through alignment. Everything begins within. Your thoughts are seeds, your emotions are fuel, your assumptions are the blueprint, and your faith is the foundation. You do not need to wait for signs. You are the sign. You do not need permission to rise. You are already chosen. The shift does not begin when things change around you. It begins when you change within. From that sacred inner shift, your outer world must follow. So stand firm, feel deeply, assume powerfully, believe completely. The reality you long for is not outside of you, it is already within, waiting for your energy to open the door.
Most of you have spent your entire lives in a state of constant resistance. You resist what is, while desperately reaching for what is not. You push against your present circumstances with such force, such determination, such righteous indignation, believing that this very resistance will somehow catapult you into a better tomorrow. But I tell you now with absolute certainty that resistance is the very thing that keeps you chained to the unwanted present. The moment you truly understand what I am about to share with you, your world will never be the same. For I am not speaking to you of positive thinking or wishful dreaming. I am revealing to you the fundamental law by which all reality operates, the divine principle that governs every manifestation in your experience. When you grasp this principle and cease your futile struggle against what is, you will discover that you have been the creator of your reality all along. But first you must understand what resistance truly is. Resistance is not merely disliking your current circumstances. Resistance is the emotional and mental energy you expend in denying the present moment its right to exist. It is the constant commentary running through your mind that says, this should not be happening to me. This is wrong. This is unfair. This must change immediately. It is the chronic state of being at war with what is. Every time you say to yourself, I hate my job, you are not simply expressing a preference. You are actively resisting the present moment. Every time you declare, I don't have money, you are not merely stating a fact. You are energetically pushing against your current financial reality. Every time you complain about your health, your relationships, your living situation, you are adding power to the very conditions you claim to want to change. You must understand that your resistance is not neutral. It is creative force. It is the very energy that perpetuates and strengthens the unwanted conditions in your life. For consciousness is the only reality. And what you are conscious of, you experience. When you resist your present circumstances, you become intensely conscious of them. You think about them, you feel them, you talk about them, you lose sleep over them. And in doing so, you are feeding them with the very substance of creation itself. The mystics of old understood this principle when they spoke of acceptance. But they did not mean passive resignation or defeated surrender. They meant something far more profound. They meant the recognition that this moment, exactly as it is, contains within it the seed of all transformation. They understood that the present moment is not your enemy to be conquered, but your partner in the dance of creation. When I speak of stopping your resistance to the now, I am not asking you to like your circumstances. I am not suggesting that you become content with mediocrity or settle for less than your heart's desire. What I am revealing to you is that your current circumstances are not your reality. They are simply the outpicturing of your past states of consciousness. They are yesterday's mental diet made manifest. They are the harvest of seeds you planted in consciousness weeks, months, or even years ago. The present moment contains no past and no future. It contains only pure potential, infinite possibility, the very essence of I am. When you stop resisting what appears to be true now, you free your consciousness to create anew. You stop giving power to the old story and begin to author a new one. You cease being the victim of your circumstances and reclaim your throne as the creator of your experience. Let me share with you exactly how this works. Imagine for a moment that you are deeply in debt. Every day you receive bills in the mail. Every day you check your bank account and see the same insufficient balance. Every day you worry about money, think about money, struggle with money. What are you doing? You are resisting your current financial situation with such intensity that you are actually strengthening it. You are becoming more and more conscious of lack, and consciousness is the only reality. But what if, instead of fighting against your debt, you simply acknowledged it without resistance? What if you looked at those bills and said, yes, this is what appears to be true in my world right now? Not with resignation, but with the quiet confidence of one who knows that appearances are not reality. What if you stop feeding the fire of financial struggle with your emotional reactions and mental commentary? The moment you stop resisting your current financial circumstances, something remarkable happens. Your consciousness is freed from its fixation on lack. No longer are you mentally and emotionally invested in the story of not having enough. No longer are you giving creative power to poverty consciousness. You have stepped out of the old pattern and created space for something new to emerge. This is where the real work begins. For having ceased your resistance to what is, you now have the opportunity to consciously choose what will be. You can now deliberately assume the feeling of already having the financial freedom you desire. You can now live from the consciousness of abundance rather than the consciousness of lack. You can now author a new story from the blank page of the present moment. But understand this clearly, you cannot successfully assume a new state of consciousness while simultaneously resisting your current circumstances. It is impossible to feel wealthy while hating your poverty. It is impossible to experience health while fighting your illness. It is impossible to know love while resisting your loneliness. The two states of consciousness cannot coexist in the same moment. This is why so many of your attempts at manifestation have failed. You have tried to create from a divided consciousness. You have attempted to plant seeds of abundance in soil poisoned by resistance to lack. You have sought to build your dream house on a foundation of rejection of your current address. It cannot be done. Creation requires a unified consciousness, a single-pointed focus, an undivided heart. When you cease your resistance to the present moment, you discover something that will astound you. You discover that the present moment has no opinions about itself. It does not insist on being permanent. It does not fight to maintain itself. It simply is, and then it passes away, making room for the next moment to unfold. The present moment is infinitely flexible, endlessly creative, completely responsive to consciousness. Your resistance is what makes your circumstances appear solid and unchangeable. Your resistance is what creates the illusion that you are stuck, trapped, powerless to alter your experience. But the moment you withdraw your resistance, you discover that your circumstances are as fluid, as water, as malleable as clay in the hands of a master sculptor. They are not your master, you are their creator. I want you to understand something that will revolutionize your entire approach to life. Your circumstances are never the cause of your experience. Your consciousness is the cause, and your circumstances are the effect. This means that changing your circumstances is not about manipulating the external world. It is about transforming your internal world, your consciousness, your state of being. When you resist your present circumstances, you are trying to change the effect while leaving the cause intact. It is like looking in a mirror and trying to change your reflection by manipulating the mirror. The only way to change your reflection is to change yourself. The only way to change your circumstances is to change your consciousness. But here is what most people do not understand. You cannot change your consciousness while resisting your present experience. Resistance locks you into the old consciousness. It keeps you fixated on what you do not want. It prevents you from assuming the new state that will create the new circumstances. The present moment is not your problem. Your resistance to the present moment is your problem. The present moment is not your limitation. Your resistance to the present moment is your limitation. The present moment is not your enemy. Your resistance to the present moment is your enemy. When you truly grasp this principle, you will see your entire life differently. You will understand that every challenging circumstance, every unwanted condition, every difficult situation is not a punishment or a mistake. It is an invitation to stop resisting and start creating consciously. It is life asking you to remember who you really are and to reclaim your power as the creator of your experience. Let me take you deeper into this understanding. When you resist the present moment, you are essentially saying to the universe, you got it wrong. This moment should be different than it is. But the universe does not make mistakes. Every moment unfolds in perfect response to consciousness. Your present circumstances are the perfect outpicturing of your past states of consciousness. They are not random, they are not accidents, they are not punishments. They are the faithful mirror of your inner world. This is why resistance is so futile. You are fighting against the perfect reflection of your own consciousness. You are arguing with your own creation. You are at war with yourself. And in any war with yourself, you can only lose. But when you cease your resistance, something miraculous occurs. You stop being at war with yourself and begin to work with yourself. You stop fighting your own reflection and begin to change what creates the reflection. You stop being the victim of your circumstances and begin to be the conscious creator of new circumstances. The key to understanding this principle lies in recognizing the difference between acknowledgement and resistance. Acknowledgement says, this is what appears to be true right now. Resistance says, this should not be true right now. Acknowledgement is neutral, peaceful, accepting of what is. Resistance is charged, emotional, fighting against what is. When you acknowledge your present circumstances without resistance, you are not giving up or giving in. You are simply stepping out of the old pattern of struggle. You are refusing to feed the unwanted conditions with your emotional and mental energy. You are withdrawing your creative power from the old story and making it available for the creation of a new story. This is what the ancient wisdom meant when it spoke of surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of struggle. Not giving up on your dreams, but giving up the belief that fighting against what is will somehow create what you want. Not accepting less than you deserve, but accepting the present moment as the perfect starting point for creating what you do deserve. The present moment asks nothing of you except your presence. It does not require your approval or your resistance. It simply invites you to be here now, fully conscious and awake. And when you accept this invitation, when you show up fully to what is, you discover that the present moment is not a prison but a doorway. Not a limitation but a possibility. Not an ending but a beginning. Think about this for a moment. Every great transformation in your life has begun with acceptance of where you were. Every positive change has started with the recognition of what was true in that moment. You cannot go from here to there without first being honestly and completely here. You cannot create something new without first acknowledging what currently exists. This is why resistance is such a barrier to transformation. It keeps you from being fully present to what is. And without full presence to what is, you cannot consciously create what will be. Resistance scatters your consciousness, divides your attention, fragments your creative power. It makes you mentally and emotionally unavailable for the work of conscious creation. But when you stop resisting, your consciousness becomes unified, focused, available. You are no longer fighting a war on two fronts, trying to push away what you do not want, while simultaneously reaching for what you do want. You are simply here, now, in this moment, with all of your creative power gathered and ready to be directed toward your chosen end. This is the secret that the great spiritual teachers have been trying to convey throughout the ages. The kingdom of heaven is within you, they said. The power to create your reality lies in your consciousness, not in your circumstances. The present moment is the point of power, the place where all transformation begins. When Jesus said, resist not evil, he was not teaching passivity or encouraging people to accept injustice. He was revealing the fundamental law of consciousness that resistance perpetuates what you resist, while acceptance transforms it. He was showing us that the way to overcome any unwanted condition is not to fight against it, but to withdraw our creative power from it and invest that power in the creation of what we truly desire. This principle applies to every area of your life. If you are unhappy in your relationship, stop resisting your partner's behavior and start assuming the feeling of already experiencing the love you desire. If you are dissatisfied with your career, stop fighting against your current job and start living from the consciousness of already being in your ideal profession. If you are struggling with health issues, stop battling your symptoms and start feeling the wellness that is your natural state. But remember, this is not about denial or pretense. This is not about closing your eyes to reality and pretending everything is perfect. This is about understanding what reality truly is. Reality is not your circumstances. Reality is consciousness. Your circumstances are simply the current outpicturing of consciousness. They are not permanent. They are not solid. They are not unchangeable. They are fluid, responsive, completely under the dominion of consciousness. When you stop resisting your circumstances, you stop giving them the power to resist change. When you stop fighting against what is, you stop strengthening what is. When you cease being emotionally and mentally invested in the old story begins to lose its power over your experience. This is where faith comes in. Not faith in some external deity or force, but faith in the principle of consciousness. Faith that when you change your inner world, your outer world must reflect that change. Faith that when you assume a new state of consciousness and persist in that assumption, your circumstances will inevitably conform to your new state. But this faith cannot coexist with resistance. You cannot simultaneously believe in the power of consciousness while fighting against its current manifestation. You cannot have faith in your ability to create while being at war with what you have already created. Faith and resistance are mutually exclusive. This is why the scriptures speak of having faith like a child. A child does not question whether their imagination is real. A child does not doubt whether their inner world has power over their experience. A child simply assumes a state and lives from that assumption with complete naturalness and confidence. You must reclaim this childlike faith in the power of consciousness. You must remember that your imagination is not make-believe, but the very force by which worlds are created. You must trust that when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, the external world has no choice but to conform to your assumption. But again, this cannot happen while you are resisting your present circumstances. Resistance keeps you tied to the old state of consciousness. It prevents you from fully assuming the new state. It divides your creative power between fighting what is and creating what you want. The moment you stop resisting, all of your creative power becomes available for the work of conscious creation. You are no longer spending energy maintaining the old story through your emotional reactions and mental commentary. You are free to invest all of that energy in the assumption of your new story. This is what I mean when I say there is no reality shift until you stop resisting the now. As long as you are fighting against your present circumstances, you are locked into the consciousness that created those circumstances. You are perpetuating the old story with your resistance. You are strengthening the very conditions you claim to want to change. But the moment you withdraw your resistance, you step into the realm of infinite possibility. You become available for transformation. You open the door for consciousness to create anew. You remember that you are not the victim of your circumstances, but the author of your experience. Let me share with you a practical approach to implementing this principle in your daily life. Begin each day by consciously choosing not to resist what appears in your experience. When you wake up and remember your challenges, instead of automatically going into resistance mode, simply acknowledge what appears to be true without fighting against it. If you are facing financial difficulties, instead of spending your morning worrying about money and complaining about your situation, simply acknowledge that this is what appears to be true in your world right now. Do not feed it with emotional reactions. Do not strengthen it with mental commentary. Simply observe it as you would observe clouds passing across the sky. Then, having withdrawn your creative power from the old story, consciously assume the feeling of already having the financial freedom you desire. Feel what it would be like to wake up each morning knowing that all of your needs are abundantly met. Assume the consciousness of wealth rather than the consciousness of lack. If you are struggling with health issues, instead of spending your day focused on symptoms and limitations, simply acknowledge that this is what appears true about your body right now. Do not resist it. Do not fight it. Do not give it power through your emotional reactions. Then assume the feeling of perfect health and vitality. Feel yourself strong, energetic, radiant with wellness. If you are lonely and longing for love, instead of feeling sorry for yourself and complaining about your isolation, simply acknowledge that this is your current experience without fighting against it. Then assume the feeling of being deeply loved and cherished. Feel yourself surrounded by love, appreciated, valued, adored. The key is to make this a practice, not just an occasional attempt when you remember. Make it your default response to any unwanted condition. First, acknowledge without resistance. Then, assume the new state of consciousness. This is the rhythm of conscious creation. Acknowledge what is. Assume what you want to be. As you practice this principle, you will begin to notice something remarkable. Your circumstances will begin to shift in ways that seem almost magical. Opportunities will appear. People will show up. Conditions will align to support your new state of consciousness. What seemed impossible while you were in resistance will become natural and effortless as you learn to work with consciousness rather than against it. But understand that this is not magic. This is law. This is the fundamental principle by which reality operates. Consciousness is the only reality, and your external world is simply the faithful mirror of your internal world. When you change your consciousness, your world must change. It has no choice. It is law. The great teachers throughout history have all pointed to this same truth. They have used different words, different metaphors, different approaches, but they have all been revealing the same fundamental principle, that you are the creator of your reality, and your creative power lies in consciousness, not in circumstances. Buddha spoke of the end of suffering through the cessation of resistance. He taught that suffering comes not from circumstances themselves, but from our attachment to wanting things to be different than they are. When we stop resisting what is, suffering ends, and we become available for enlightenment. Jesus demonstrated this principle in his entire ministry. He never fought against external conditions. He simply assumed the consciousness of what he wanted to experience and let that consciousness manifest as changed circumstances. He turned water into wine, not by manipulating the water, but by assuming the consciousness of wine. He healed the sick not by fighting their diseases, but by assuming the consciousness of health. The ancient Hermetic teachings speak of this as the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. Your external world corresponds to your internal world. Change the inner and the outer must follow. But you cannot change the inner while resisting the outer. Every mystical tradition has recognized this truth in its own way. The Hindus speak of Maya, the illusion of the external world. The Sufis teach that the world is a mirror, reflecting the qualities of consciousness. The Kabbalists understand that all of creation is simply the emanation of divine consciousness into form. But you do not need to study these traditions to understand this principle. You need only observe your own experience with clear eyes. Notice how your external world reflects your internal world. Notice how your circumstances mirror your consciousness. Notice how resistance perpetuates what you resist, while acceptance transforms it. The truth is, you have been using this principle your entire life, but unconsciously. Every condition in your life right now is the result of some state of consciousness you have assumed and persisted in. Your current circumstances are not accidents, they are creations. They are not punishments, they are reflections. They are not mistakes, they are perfect mirrors of your inner world. When you understand this, you realize that you have always been the creator of your reality. You have never been a victim, never been powerless, never been at the mercy of external forces. You have always had the power to create your experience through consciousness. You simply were not aware of it. This awareness changes everything. It means that no condition is permanent unless you make it so through your consciousness. It means that no circumstance is beyond your ability to transform through the right assumption of consciousness. It means that you are never stuck unless you choose to be stuck through resistance to what is. But with this power comes responsibility. You can no longer blame others for your experience. You can no longer point to external conditions as the cause of your problems. You can no longer play the victim or wait for someone else to rescue you. You must take full responsibility for your consciousness and therefore for your reality. This responsibility is not a burden. It is liberation. It means that you no longer need to wait for external conditions to change before you can be happy. You no longer need other people to behave differently before you can feel loved. You no longer need circumstances to improve before you can experience fulfillment. You can create any experience you desire right now through the assumption of the appropriate state of consciousness. But again, this cannot happen while you are resisting your present experience. Resistance keeps you locked in victim consciousness. It maintains the illusion that you are at the mercy of external forces. It prevents you from recognizing and claiming your power as the creator of your reality. The moment you stop resisting what is, you step into creator consciousness. You remember who you really are. You reclaim your throne as the author of your experience. You become consciously creative rather than unconsciously reactive. This is the great awakening that is available to every human being. This is the remembering that transforms victims into creators, problems into possibilities, limitations into launching pads. This is the recognition that changes everything, that consciousness is the only reality, and you are consciousness itself. When you fully embrace this truth, when you stop resisting the now and start creating consciously, you will discover that reality is far more fluid and responsive than you ever imagined. You will find that the world is not a fixed, solid, unchangeable thing, but a living, breathing, constantly transforming reflection of consciousness. You will realize that every moment is a new opportunity to create. Every breath is a chance to assume a new state. Every day is a blank canvas on which you can paint the masterpiece of your chosen life. You will understand that limitation is not a fact but a choice, that problems are not permanent but temporary outpicturings of consciousness, that miracles are not violations of natural law but the natural result of elevated consciousness. This is your birthright. This is your nature. This is who you really are, the conscious creator of your reality, the author of your experience, the artist of your life. Stop resisting the now and remember, stop fighting what is and create what you want. Stop being the victim of your circumstances and become the master of your consciousness. The time for resistance is over. The time for conscious creation has begun. The time to remember who you truly are is now. There is no reality shift until you stop resisting the now. But the moment you do, all things become possible, all dreams become attainable, all desires become manifest. This is the truth that will set you free. Not free from your circumstances, but free to create new circumstances. Not free from responsibility, but free to take responsibility for your creative power. Not free from life, but free to live life as the conscious creator you were born to be. The choice is yours and the power is within you. Stop resisting and start creating. The reality you desire is waiting for your assumption. The life you dream of is waiting for your consciousness. The transformation you seek is waiting for your acceptance of this moment as the perfect starting point for all creation. There is no reality shift until you stop resisting the now. But when you do, when you finally cease your futile struggle against what is and begin to consciously create what will be, you will discover that you have always been the one you were waiting for, the power you were seeking, the miracle you were hoping for. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and the time to enter it is now.